Mara Hale walked through Haven Outpost 6 with slow steps. The night was quiet, and the halls were empty. She liked this time of day. It was peaceful, and for a moment she could forget the years of war she had lived through. She touched the metal wall with her hand and listened to the low hum of the generators. Everything felt normal. Everything felt safe. But that safety broke in the next second. A loud alarm rang across the outpost. Red lights flashed, and a warning message echoed through the hallway. Mara froze. The sound was old, one she had not heard since her days as a soldier. The alarm meant one thing. An unknown life form had entered the station. She turned around and ran toward the control room. Her boots hit the floor hard as she moved. Inside the control room, Darren Colt was already there. He was tall, strong, and always calm, even when the world was falling apart. He looked at the screen in front of him and frowned. "Something small," Darren said, "moving fast. Not a human, not a machine." Mara leaned closer. She saw a tiny glowing dot on the screen, moving through the air ducts. "Could be a pest," she said. "No," Darren replied. "Too fast. Too smart." The alarm continued to scream. Mara reached for a stun rifle hanging on the wall, and Darren picked up his own. They moved together through the outpost, following the scanner signals. The glowing stopped near the old storage room. Darren opened the door slowly. Inside the room, something small hid under a metal crate. The crate shook a little, as if something underneath it was trembling. Mara lowered her weapon. She walked slowly toward the crate. "It's okay," she said in a soft voice. "We won't hurt you." The crate moved again, and then a tiny head appeared from under it. Mara's eyes widened. She saw soft blue scales, a small snout, and bright golden eyes full of fear. It was a dragon hatchling, no bigger than a house cat, glowing with soft blue light. Its wings were folded tight against its body, and its tail curled around its legs. But the most surprising thing happened next. A gentle voice entered both Mara's and Darren's minds. "Help me, please." Mara froze. "Did you hear that?" Darren nodded slowly. It spoke. "In our minds." The hatchling crawled out from under the crate. Its small claws clicked softly on the floor. It looked thin, scared, and tired, as if it had been running for days. Mara slowly kneeled down. "Where did you come from?" she asked. The voice answered again, frightened and weak. "I ran away. Hunters chased me. I did not know where to go. I am sorry. I did not want to frighten anyone." Darren placed his weapon on the ground to show he meant no harm. "We aren't going to hurt you," he said. "You're safer now." The hatchling shook its head. "No, not safe. They will find me. They always find me. Please help." Mara reached out her hand. The hatchling smelled her fingers with a tiny breath of warm air. Then it crawled closer and pressed its head gently against her hand. A soft glow came from its scales, as if it trusted her already. "What do you need?" Mara asked. The hatchling hesitated. Its voice grew even softer. I need a mother and father, just for one day. Someone protect me until sunrise. Someone to stay with me." Mara blinked. That was not something she expected. She looked at Darren. He looked just as shocked. "You want us to be your parents?" Mara asked carefully. The little dragon nodded slowly. "Just for one day. I do not want to be alone anymore." Darren rubbed his forehead. "We're not parents," he said. "We're just two retired soldiers." The hatchling's eyes filled with tears. Tiny glowing tears ran down its scales and dropped to the floor like little stars. "Please, I have no one else." Mara felt something pull at her heart. She had seen fear before. She had seen pain before. But this was different. This was a child asking for comfort, not strategy or orders. She gently lifted the hatchling in her hands. It was warm, light, and trembling. "What's your name?" she asked softly. "Yuri," the voice answered. Darren watched them, and for the first time in a long time, something softened in his expression. "Mara," he said quietly, "we can't leave a baby alone." Mara nodded. "Just one day," she said. "One day is enough," Yuri whispered. They brought the hatchling to their small living quarters. Mara wrapped Yuri in a soft blanket, and the little dragon curled up inside it like a tiny star. Darren prepared warm water and placed a heater near the bed. The hatchling sighed in relief, relaxing for the first time. As Mara watched Yuri fall asleep, she felt something strange inside her, a feeling she had not felt in years. It was warmth. It was hope. But deep in the outpost scanners, something else was moving. Shadows far from the station, closing in slowly. Mara and Darren did not know it yet, but taking in a hatchling had already changed everything, and the galaxy would soon hear about the choice they had just made. Mara woke early, long before sunrise. The small room was quiet, warm, and peaceful. She turned her head and saw the little dragon hatchling Yuri, still curled up inside the blanket on the small bed they had made last night. The tiny creature glowed softly, its scales giving off a faint blue light that filled the room. Yuri slept deeply, breathing slow and peaceful, as if this was the first real rest it had gotten in days. Mara smiled a little. She had not expected to care so quickly, but something about Yuri felt different. Something gentle, something important. Darren entered the room quietly with 2 cups of warm tea. He looked at the sleeping hatchling, then at Mara. "So," he whispered, "are we really doing this?" Mara nodded slowly. "Just one day," she said softly. "A promise is a promise." Darren sat beside her. "We've made a lot of promises in our lives," he murmured, "most of them on battlefields. I never thought one of them would be to a baby dragon." Mara looked at Yuri again. "Neither did I." But the moment of calm did not last long. Yuri suddenly stirred. The blanket shook, and the little dragon lifted its head. Its golden eyes were wide and frightened. It looked around quickly, as if expecting danger. Mara reached out gently. "It's okay," she said. "You're safe here." Yuri leaned into her hand, but the fear in its eyes did not fade fully. "Did they come?" Yuri asked in a small voice inside their minds. "Did the hunters find us?" "No," Darren said. "No one is here. No alarms. Just us." The hatchling relaxed, but only a little. It crawled into Mara's lap and pressed its head against her chest. The soft light from its scales grew warm. Mara held it gently. "You're safe. And we're here until sunrise. We promise." Yuri's voice trembled. Humans always keep promises? Mara and Darren exchanged a quick look. "Not always," Darren admitted, being honest. "But we try, especially when someone small is depending on us." Yuri listened quietly. Then it nodded slowly. "Then I will trust you." Darren stood. "Come on," he said. "Let's get the little one some food." Food turned out to be a challenge. They tried warm milk. Yuri refused it. They tried protein gel. Yuri spat it out with a tiny puff of smoke. They tried fruit paste. Yuri sneezed little blue sparks. Finally, Darren placed a small metal bowl in front of Yuri filled with warm mineral water mixed with crystal flakes from the supply room. Yuri sniffed it, then drank happily. Mara blinked. "Crystal water? That's it." Darren shrugged. "Dragon biology. Don't question it." For a few moments, everything felt normal. Yuri drank slowly, then looked up at them with grateful eyes. "Thank you. No one ever fed me before." Mara froze. "What do you mean, no one?" The hatchling curled its tail around itself. Its voice grew sad. "My egg hatched in a hunter's ship. I escaped. I ran for many nights. I hid in many places. But no hands ever helped me. No wings ever covered me. No one ever called me theirs." Mara felt something sharp in her chest. Darren looked away, knowing the feeling too well. They had both seen too many lost children during the war. Mara placed her hand gently on Yuri's head. "You're not alone now." Yuri's golden eyes softened. "Why? Why help me?" "You don't know me." Darren answered first. "Maybe because someone should have helped us when we were small too," Mara said quietly. "And because every child deserves to feel safe. Even a dragon." Yuri touched her hand with a tiny claw, almost like holding it. "Then I promise. I will be good. I will not cause trouble." Mara shook her head. "You don't have to promise that. You're a child. You just have to stay with us today. That's all." Yuri nodded, but the sadness did not fully leave its eyes. Later in the morning, Darren checked the outpost sensors again. He frowned at the screen. Mara noticed. "What is it?" she asked. Darren tapped the screen. Movement in deep space. Small ships. No ID signals. Mara stepped closer. "Are they heading this way?" "Not yet," Darren said. "But they're close enough that it worries me." Mara looked at Yuri, who was trying to climb onto a chair, but kept slipping. The little dragon kept trying, determined and frustrated. She whispered, "We can't let anything happen to the child." "Agreed," Darren said. Then something unexpected happened. Yuri succeeded in climbing the chair and stood proudly on top of it. Its wings opened a little in excitement. "Look, I did it." Mara smiled warmly. "Good job." But Yuri's excitement faded when it saw their serious faces. "You look worried," Yuri said. "Is something wrong?" Mara did not lie. "There might be danger coming, but we will protect you." Yuri's small chest rose and fell quickly. "Why risk danger for me? I am just a hatchling." Darren sat on the table beside the child. "Because you asked us to be your parents for a day. And parents protect their children, even if it's hard." Yuri stared at him for a long moment. Then tears filled its golden eyes again, but this time they were not sad tears. They glowed warm and bright. "Then I will believe you," Yuri whispered. "I will believe that humans keep their promises." Mara gently wrapped the hatchling in her arms. Yuri leaned against her, trusting completely. Darren watched them both, knowing with sudden clarity that this one-day promise was already becoming something much bigger. Outside the outpost, the unknown ships changed direction, turning straight toward them. A day of peace was no longer possible, but the promise still stood. They would protect Yuri, no matter what came next. News traveled fast in the galaxy, faster than ships, faster than reason, faster than truth. By midday, the story had already reached far corners of space. 2 humans were sheltering a lost dragon hatchling. At first, the story spread as confused whispers. Some said the humans had kidnapped the hatchling. Others said the hatchling chose them. Most simply asked the same question: why would a dragon child trust humans? The answer did not reach them yet. But the galaxy was already reacting. Inside the small desert outpost, Mara and Darren were unaware of how much noise the story was making. They were busy trying to keep Yuri calm as the unknown ships continued moving toward their location. Yuri paced back and forth on the floor. Its wings flicked nervously. "They are close," the hatchling whispered. "I can feel them." Mara knelt beside it. "Who are they?" Yuri lowered its head. "Hunters. Egg thieves. They take dragon eggs and sell them. They tried to take me. I ran. Now they want me back." Darren cursed under his breath. "Of course. That explains the ships." Mara placed her hand on Yuri's back. "We won't let them take you." But outside their small world, the galaxy had begun to stir. On the Dragon Imperial throne world, alarms rang. A message was delivered directly to the Emperor, a giant dragon with golden scales and eyes like burning suns. The message was short. "Your missing hatchling has been found. With humans." The Emperor froze. His claws dug into the marble floor. His wings unfolded in shock. "No human would dare," he growled. But a quiet voice beside him answered, "These ones did, my lord." The Emperor's anger was sharp, but underneath it was confusion, and something else. Something like hope. He whispered, "Prepare a ship? I must see this myself." Back on the human colony world of Orin. 6. Military leaders stared at the reports with wide eyes. 2 veterans, alone with a dragon child. This could start a war. Or stop one, another officer said softly. Civilian news channels reacted even faster. One reporter said, "Is this the first human-dragon bond in recorded history?" Another shouted, "Are humans becoming dragon caretakers now?" A third insisted, "This is a misunderstanding. It must be." People argued everywhere: markets, station terminals, holo cafes. Some humans were proud. "Humans always step up when a child needs help," one woman said. Others were afraid. "If the dragons misunderstand this," a miner whispered, We're all in trouble. But none of this reached the outpost yet. Inside, Yuri suddenly stopped pacing. Its head snapped toward the door. They are landing. A deep vibration shook the floor. Sand outside swirled like a rising storm. Darren grabbed his rifle, but Yuri shook its head quickly. That is not the hunters. Before Mara or Darren could ask, a soft humming sound filled the air. Then a message appeared on the outpost's old screens, written in glowing gold symbols neither of them recognized. Yuri read it instantly. Its eyes widened. The Emperor knows I'm here. Mara froze. Your Emperor? Yuri nodded slowly. He must have felt my call. Dragon rulers always feel when a hatchling cries for help. Darren let out a breath. So we're getting a royal visit. Yuri looked nervous, but not afraid. He will be angry, very angry, but not because of you. He will be angry at the hunters. Mara sat beside the hatchling. Will he take you away? Yuri hesitated. He might, but its small voice trembled. I don't want to go without saying thank you. Darren and Mara exchanged a quiet look. They both felt something strange, like pride, like worry, like something bigger. Outside the outpost, another ship arrived. Sleek, silent, marked with symbols only dragons used, the symbols of ancient royalty. But the hunters had not stopped either. Their small ships circled like vultures, waiting for a chance to strike. The galaxy might have been watching, but this tiny place on a desert world suddenly felt like the center of everything. Inside, Yuri slowly climbed onto Mara's lap. Its wings drooped. Its eyes softened. When he arrives, Yuri whispered, he will ask who protected me. He will ask why. What should I say? Mara brushed a gentle hand over its warm scales. Tell him the truth. Darren added, tell him humans keep promises. Yuri nodded, but the worry in its eyes grew brighter. What if he thinks humans are dangerous? What if he takes me away forever? Mara hugged the hatchling, careful and soft. Then he will be wrong about us. But whatever he chooses, we will stand with you. Yuri buried its head in her chest. Its small voice shook. I don't want sunrise to end. I don't want this day to be over. Darren looked away for a moment. His voice came out low and honest. It doesn't have to end today. Yuri lifted its head, confused. But the promise. Mara smiled gently. Some promises can grow. Before Yuri could answer, a thunderous sound echoed outside. The outpost door shook. He had arrived. The Emperor, guardian of an ancient species, ruler of 1,000 worlds, had come to meet the two humans who changed everything. And far above, across hundreds of systems, the galaxy held its breath, because no one knew what would happen next. The ground trembled as the Emperor's huge shadow fell across the outpost. Dust lifted into the air. The air grew warm, almost heavy, as if the world itself knew something important was happening. Inside the small room, Yuri behind Mara and Darren, its wings pressed tight to its body. Its tail curled around Mara's boot. The Emperor stepped inside. He was enormous, far larger than any dragon they had ever seen. His golden scales glowed like fire. His eyes were deep, bright, and full of something more powerful than anger. It was a mix of fear, relief, and ancient instinct. When he spoke, the walls shook. Who protects my heir? The question was not shouted, but it carried the weight of galaxies. Mara stood first. Her hands trembled, but she didn't step back. Darren stood beside her, calm but ready. We do, Mara answered. The Emperor lowered his head until his eyes were level with hers. He studied her closely, like he could see every thought she ever had. You took in a dragon child, he said. You gave food, water, shelter. Why? Darren crossed his arms. Because he needed help. That is reason enough, Mara said. Silence filled the room. Deep, heavy. Yuri peeked out from behind them. The Emperor's expression softened just a little. He spoke again, this time quieter. Yuri, come to me. Yuri did not move. The Emperor blinked in surprise. You disobey? Yuri shook its head. I am not disobeying, Father. I am afraid. Those words struck the Emperor like a physical blow. He drew back slightly. Afraid of me, he whispered, shocked. No, Yuri said. Afraid you will take me away. The Emperor stared at the small hatchling for a long time, as if hearing something he never expected. His claws loosened, his tail lowered, the fire in his chest dimmed. He looked at Mara and Darren again. You two gave him something even I could not, the Emperor said slowly. Safety, warmth, a feeling of being seen. Yuri stepped forward, but instead of going to the Emperor, the hatchling stopped between the humans and its father. A tiny bridge. The Emperor watched with wide eyes. Tell me, he said softly to Yuri. What do you want? Yuri looked at Mara, then at Darren, then at its father. I want to stay with them, Yuri whispered. The Emperor froze. Even Mara and Darren went still. That is not how our world works, the Emperor said quietly. Yuri's voice shook. Then I choose a different world. The Emperor shut his eyes, and his great body rose and fell with a long, heavy breath. The conflict inside him was clear. Duty and tradition pulling one way, his child's fear and hope pulling the other. Outside the outpost, engines roared. The hunters' ships moved closer, circling like predators, sensing weakness. Darren stepped toward the door. They're getting ready to strike. The Emperor's eyes snapped open. Hunters? Here. Yuri nodded. They want me back. A fire brighter than the sun lit behind the Emperor's eyes. No one takes from me, he growled. But Mara stepped forward quickly. Wait! The Emperor paused. Mara spoke carefully, but her words were firm. If you fight them now, the galaxy will think dragons attack humans. It will become a war. Darren added, They're criminals. Let humans deal with them this time. The Emperor stared at both of them again. The same question moved through his mind. Why do humans protect those who are not their own? Then something changed in his eyes. Very well, he said. You handle the hunters. I will watch. It was a choice that surprised everyone, even Yuri. But Darren nodded and walked outside with Mara. The hunters' ships landed roughly, sending waves of sand into the air. Armed thieves stepped out, confident and loud. That dragon belongs to us, the leader shouted. No, Mara said, stepping forward. He belongs to himself. The hunters laughed. Move aside. Darren gave them one warning. Leave now. The leader started to speak again, then froze. Because behind Mara and Darren, the Emperor stepped out. His wings unfolded slowly, creating a shadow big enough to cover the entire camp. The hunters fell silent, their weapons lowered. Their courage died instantly. The Emperor didn't roar. He didn't strike. He didn't even move. He only looked at them with royal disappointment. And the hunters broke. They ran back to their ships. Engines screamed. The ships lifted off so fast they left scorch marks in sand. In less than 10 seconds, they were gone. Mara let out a slow breath. Darren smirked. That was easy. It was the right choice, the Emperor said. A choice made without blood. He turned to Yuri. Do you see? These humans act not for power. They act because their hearts tell them to. Yuri ran forward and hugged the Emperor's gigantic claw. The Emperor lowered his head and rested it gently beside the hatchling. Then he turned to the humans once more. I was ready to take Yuri away, he confessed. But now I see that would only bring him fear. Mara waited, her breath tight. The Emperor's next words changed everything. I choose to let him stay with you. Not as your child, not as your ruler's heir, but as a bridge between your worlds. Darren blinked. Mara covered her mouth. Yuri gasped in pure joy. The Emperor gave a final nod. This is not the end, he said softly. This is the beginning of something new. And in that quiet morning light, the choice was made, a choice that would echo across the galaxy. A dragon heir would stay with 2 human veterans. Not out of fear, not out of duty, but out of trust. The ship moved through quiet space as Run and Mara sat with the little dragon between them. The hatchling, now cleaner, warmer, and fed, curled its tail around their arms. It had finally stopped shaking. But neither of the humans knew what came next. They only knew one thing. They could not let the baby face the galaxy alone. The dragon opened its bright eyes and looked at them with trust that felt too big for its small body. It lifted its head and made a soft sound. Ren smiled. Mara gently rubbed the scales under its chin. The creature leaned into her touch like it had wanted that feeling all its life. But outside their small ship, the galaxy had already changed. News channels reported that 2 humans had taken in a lost dragon child. Some praised them. Some feared what would happen. Dragons were known for strength, power, and strict traditions. A broken rule could turn into a political storm. Ren and Mara understood this. But they also knew the baby dragon needed them more than anything. When they reached the nearest safe station, they were met by a crowd. Cameras flashed. People whispered. Some pointed. The hatchling hit its face against Mara's jacket. Mara whispered soft words to calm it. Ren held his hand close, ready to protect both of them if anything went wrong. A group of officials arrived. Their leader, a tall woman with sharp eyes, stepped forward. She looked at the dragon in Mara's arms and frowned. "Humans are not allowed to take guardianship of dragon hatchlings," she said. "It is a matter of ancient law." Ren straightened. "We didn't take guardianship. We saved it. It begged us to stay with it. Should we have walked away?" The official paused. The crowd murmured. Some nodded. Others shook their heads. No one expected humans to defend a dragon child so strongly. Then something strange happened. Dragons arrived. A group of them landed outside the station, armored, tall, and glowing with power. The room fell silent as they entered. Their leader, a dragon matriarch, stepped forward. She studied Ren and Mara with deep, golden eyes. She looked at the hatchling with something like sadness. "Child," she said softly, "come here." The hatchling whimpered and tightened its claws around Mara's jacket. It refused to move. It looked at the matriarch with fear in its eyes. Then it turned and pressed its forehead to Ren's chest. The station gasped. Dragons almost never chose humans for comfort. The matriarch frowned. "Why does it cling to you? What spell have you cast?" "No spell," Mara said calmly. "We treated it with kindness." The matriarch looked troubled. She walked closer, her steps heavy and slow. Then she spoke in a softer voice. "Hatchlings bond when they feel safe. If it trusts you, then taking away would cause harm." Crowds whispered. Officials exchanged nervous looks. What did this mean for the galaxy? For dragons? For humans? For the balance of power? Ren took a breath. "We only promise one thing," he said. "To stay with it for one day. Just one day." The little dragon lifted its head and made a pleading cry. It was clear the promise had meant everything. The matriarch closed her eyes. "A promise made by humans has changed our traditions," she said quietly. "If we take the child now, it will stay silent for years. Its spirit will break. We cannot allow that." The official frowned. "Then what happens now?" The matriarch looked at Ren and Mara. "The hatchling has chosen these 2. That makes them temporary guardians under dragon law." The room erupted with noise. Shock, anger, amazement. But Ren and Mara only looked at the hatchling. It climbed up Mara's shoulder, chirping happily, as if it understood everything. The matriarch raised a hand for silence. "This decision will shape the future. Dragons and humans will watch your every move. If you fail, the consequences will be great. If you succeed, the galaxy may see peace where there was none." Ren nodded. "We never asked for power. We only want a hatchling to grow safe." Mara added, "And to know it is loved." The matriarch studied them one last time. Then she bowed her head, a dragon bowing to humans. The crowd fell silent again. "You are now a family," she said. "A strange one, but a family." The hatchling chirped and wrapped its wings around both humans like a tiny blanket. The gesture was clumsy, but full of emotion. As they walked back toward their ship, the cameras flashed again. Reporters shouted. Officials ran after them. Dragons watched in the shadows. But Ren and Mara ignored them all. They were focused only on the small creature between them. It looked up at them with bright, trusting eyes. It made a soft sound, a sound full of hope and warmth. For the first time in a long time, Ren and Mara felt something they had not felt since the war ended. They felt like a home. The galaxy had expected conflict. It had expected danger. But it had never expected this. two broken veterans and one lonely hatchling forming a small, quiet family. And sometimes, the smallest families change the biggest galaxies.